Upgrading the Nintendo GameCube in 2023? Let's talk about that. Hello and welcome to Modern Broadcast. Now in today's episode we are going to be modifying our Nintendo GameCube, and we have another modification video coming out in a couple weeks, but this one here is the simpler of the two by far. What this one does allows our Nintendo GameCube to utilize Bluetooth controllers, so we can have an entirely wireless GameCube setup here in 2023. I find it pretty neat that the GameCube is still getting love after all these years for a console that is so old, released originally back in 2001, and here we are over 20 years later, and new things are still happening. So this modification is brought to us by Laser Bear Industries. I'll have a link down in the description below, but Laser Bear Industries has this little component here, and it's called the GameCube Blue Retro Internal Adapter version 2. It is a pricey modification, coming in at $95. But, again, it does allow you to utilize Bluetooth controllers for the Nintendo GameCube. So if you are a big GameCube fan like myself, this may be worth it to you. It's all pre-assembled, no soldering required. It's just a nice plug-and-play experience after taking off the Vader helmet of the GameCube. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start with the unboxing, and then we'll record the actual installing. Let's get started. I mean, do I have to say it? Handy dandy kniff. And here we go. We have Laser Bear Industries. That's awesome. Looks like we also have a little computer chip sticker with the Laser Bear mascot right there in the middle, and another Laser Bear logoed gaming sticker. Okay, looks like we also get a 12 flavor gummy bear little pouch here. That is awesome. Way to stay on brand, Laser Bear. All right, so here we have the controller port here. It looks like we got some wires here as well. Now, this looks intimidating, but I assure you, this is pretty simple. Again, no soldering is required to do so. Let's go ahead and try to open this. I'm going to leave the cables inside here, but looks like we have the antenna for the Bluetooth right here, and then looks like we have a couple connectors that just need to get wired up to the GameCube there. Alright, so taking out, let's get this closer. Here we go. Here we have the controller port here, and we have our 4 ports, the battery, our LED. So it looks like if we scan this QR code, it gives us a installation guide. That's actually really neat to not include any like papers and whatnot. You just have that there. That's smart. I like that actually. I think more companies should do that. Just put it right on the board you're working on. And then flip it over here. So here we have a ribbon cable. So this will replace when you take out the port out of the GameCube. It's connected via a ribbon cable. So you're just going to do the same. Replace that. And it looks like here we have those plug ports. Well, let's get started, shall we? Switching over to our GameCube here, I have the Tales of Symphonia Japanese GameCube. I had already opened this up a couple times previously to region switch it to be North American, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and get this chip installed. Let's go ahead and get started. So if you have a Game Boy player at the bottom of your GameCube, the first thing you'll have to do is take that off. And once we have that removed, I'm going to go ahead and use the GameCube security bit here to remove the 4 corners. Okay, get those removed just like so. Alright, once we have all 4 screws removed, we're going to go ahead and flip our GameCube over. And much like Darth Vader, we're going to take the helmet off. Perfect. Now the primary area that we're going to be working is going to be right up here. So we'll need to just carefully grab this and pull that up and out. Alright, well, it looks like this ribbon cable got near an iron at some point. It's got a little burn mark, much like my hand. So what we're going to do, this is held together with 2 Phillips screws here. That's the only thing that holds this here, and this is the reset button. I figured that out. So if you are just getting into modifying small electronics or any other kind of projects like this with modifications, I strongly recommend you pick up some sort of set of bits. These are small bits, typically for small electronics and other devices, as this comes in handy. I will have a link down in the description below. The set on this side, it's all the bits, magnetizer and demagnetizer with some wedges to separate some plastic. On the other side, we have more wedges, some extensions, an extra screwdriver that I'm using here. This is, I think, by far my favorite screwdriver to use when working on small electronics. And it's what's also nice is that this is enough reach. You pull this down and it extends out so far. And if you need even more, there's an extender in the case. With that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and put back our security bit here, or I'm just going to set it aside for now because we're going to need it to put back the Darth Vader helmet. So I'm going to use a size 1 Phillips to go ahead and remove these 2 screws here. There we go. Now we don't want to lose these or damage them because we're going to need them again here. So I'm just going to set that down right there. All right, let's go ahead and just remove this out like that. Very nice. Now, we might want to do a little bit of cleaning here if yours is dusty. This one actually looks pretty okay. Now what we're going to want to do is with the antenna here for the Bluetooth, there is some adhesive right here at this end. We're going to peel this off, and it's really up to you. I've kind of seen it both ways. I've seen people stick it across like this between 2 and 3, like so. But I've also seen people kind of put it in between like that, between 2 and 3. It's really your call. I think me personally, I think I'm going to go this route, just so that way it kind of naturally just bends over the board, going up and over. So I'm going to put it between 2 and 3 right here on the plastic right there. So let's go ahead and get this separated. All right, so I'm just going to take this here, and again, just put it right between 2 and 3, and push down. There we go. Okay, now we're going to take our board, we're going to flip it around. You want the LED to be facing up. That's your indicator light. And you see there's a hole here and a hole here to feed through. Push it all the way, and let's reattach our screws. Again, be very careful not to strip your screws out. Make sure to take your time. There we go. Now, we're going to take this black cable, and if you see here, the upper right corner, there's a little circle with a dot. Gonna just go ahead and shape shift that to right there. Line it up and push together. Should click into place. And we can kind of manipulate this cord a little bit just so it stays out of the way. There we have it. Getting our GameCube back here. We're gonna go ahead at the bottom here, line up our face so it lines up with the memory card. We're going to feed it right back down in there where we pulled it out from. See if I can get that to show a little bit better. We're going to feed it right back down into that ribbon cable slot. Go. And once you get it there, you just want to gently but firmly push down. Not too hard. So we're not exactly done yet because we had those extra cables. So what those are actually for the fan and the power button. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remove the power cable, like so, and we're going to remove the fan controller cable, just like that. Okay, so we still have these 2 cables here that came with the package, and what I should have done, actually, before connecting the ribbon cable is get these connected. It just makes it a lot easier to get in and out. So we're going to go ahead and get this removed now. Okay, now with that ribbon cable removed, so this is back to free, we have this here. And then we have this little box that says J3 above it. And what we're going to take is our female-to-female connector. And what we're going to do is we're going to get that plugged in that slot right there. Okay, we got that plugged in. And then we have the extension cable here, which is a male to female. We're going to take the female portion, and it's going to plug into this bottom one right here. They should snap into place. Don't use too much force. Just make sure that they're nice and secure. Okay. Now, with this fan cable that we unplugged, we need to get this routed out, and we're going to route this over to this board. So just above where we plugged in that male to female, we're going to plug in that other white box just to the left. So like this. Okay, I'm gonna get that kind of situated there. All right, with our cable that we plugged in up top, this is now going to plug in. So that went ahead and plugged in right in our slot right there. And then we're gonna take our power cable and plug it right into that extension. Do your best to try to keep them out of the way. There is some cable management right down in here that we could utilize. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect that ribbon cable now, just so that way everything is put together. Got that connected. Got the clips going. Gonna route these cables along the side here. There is a very skinny, small channel along the side here. You could try to route it down through there, just to help kind of keep this stuff out of the way. What I had to do, I just tested it to make sure that I actually close this. Take your time with routing the wires. Be patient with it, as it's not going to fit right away. Don't force the corners closed. You don't want to put stress on the cables or on the plastic itself. These systems are getting old, and you know, they become brittle with age. So the way I routed it to finally get it to close comfortably and okay is I took it out from the bottom and I routed through this channel, and I made sure to push down through the channel, and even here in this little corner it kind of L shapes. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it really L shapes, and I really just made sure the wires got really down in there. I tried to make this as flat as possible, kind of laying across right next to where it originally was plugged in. And so that way, hopefully, the size profile was small enough to allow the lid to come on. And it worked. So we're going to go ahead and get this buttoned up, and we'll boot it to see how it goes. Another key point I want to show is you can't have anything near this right here. I was able to manipulate the cable to go kind of inwards and then down. So I strongly recommend that you do that. Otherwise, you'll start to damage your cables trying to push down the helmet. And you'll notice there's a little gap back here. So if you're noticing that, try to get away from this clip here, as underneath these black supports right here kind of rest right on top of here. And so that will cause rubbing. And if there's a wire there, it won't be flat and sit good. But now with that tucked, we'll see here. Sits perfectly. There is no exposedness like that or even like that. It just goes down all the way. No problem. Super simple. I open up the lid just to make sure. I've had the lid get stuck before taking apart a GameCube before, so I always open up the lid when I'm putting it back on, and we test our buttons. Sounds good. I do notice that with the replacement restart button, it feels different than it did on the old board. It's like more tactile. Alright, so we got everything hooked up and connected now, and one thing that I'm noticing here is with the HDMI plugged in the back, we have some RGB lighting just freaking out up here up front with the system off. I don't really like that for long term, but it's pretty cool that we got some RGB lighting up top, and as soon as I unplug that HDMI out the back, it stops doing that. So I'm not entirely sure. So let's go ahead and get this booted up and see if we can pair an Xbox controller to the system. Okay. And as we see here, yeah, we are now rocking an Xbox controller to play some games. That is awesome. So we are rocking an Xbox controller to play GameCube wirelessly. Oh, and what's pretty neat here, I don't know if it's showing with the light, but player 1 is connected, and so we have a blue LED light in port 1 showing that we are connected with one player. Let me turn off the lights and see if that shows up better. Absolutely awesome. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. What are your thoughts on this very easy mod to do for your Nintendo GameCube? Is it worth still supporting this console after this many years? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Have a great week, everyone, and take care.